Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leader in You interview series, created to gain insights from diverse leaders in their field. This is my inaugural interview, and I have the honor of Azran Osman-Rani, who is the CEO and co-founder of Naluri, with me to share his take on leadership. Azran, thank you for joining us today. You have
Thanks
an
for having me,
illustrious,
Valerie.
yeah, nice to have you on board. You have an illustrious entrepreneur and leadership journey. Give us a
Mhm.
summary on your background. What leadership style have you been adhering to?
Well, when people say illustrious, it's a bit like that proverbial iceberg. You only see what's in public, right? And many people don't see what happens underneath. And probably the one thing that maybe I've done more of is just I've made a lot more mistakes, a lot more failures and errors. And that's been the way I've had to develop and grow as a leader. You can't really learn from textbooks or following other people. You just gotta roll up your sleeves, do it, and realize, oh, that didn't work. So I've got a pretty good, impressive collection of spectacular failures.
So have you learned from all these failures? How has it helped you? What's the best and worst that you have experienced?
Wow, like from starting a business and in 2 years convincing 450 employees to leave their established jobs to join you in this new venture, only to have a major shareholder dispute and have to shut down the entire business and retrench all 450 people.
Mm,
That's just one example, right?
okay.
To running out of cash multiple times and have to beg suppliers and creditors to give you a lifeline, right? To being served a very multi-million dollar lawsuit, right? So a lot of times, yeah.
But what has it keep you from going onward with this? It seems like there's a lot of challenges you went and overcome. How's that it keep
Mhm.
you going?
Well, for me, what's important is what do I want to get out of my life, and I guess my personal purpose, if I can call it that, is I'm drawn to businesses that help make services much more affordable and much more accessible so that the mass market segments can get access to services similar to what the more privileged segments of our society. And so that cuts across everything, right? I've done airlines, television entertainment, and now healthcare. And there's still so much more to do. So I'm fascinated by the parallels and the distinctions, right, across different industries, all focused on this one problem of accessibility and affordability.
Okay. So
Mhm.
share three key things that you would advocate as a leader and advise those who want to build their leadership capabilities.
Wow. Well, I guess the first thing for me is to recognize that whatever we think is the right answer is not going to be the answer, right? And so it starts with we become better leaders when we are humble enough to know when things don't go wrong, things go wrong, and we need to change. And a part of that is also who do we surround ourselves with so that they tell us when things go wrong
Okay.
and they're honest and direct, right? As opposed to people who only tell you what you want to hear,
Yep.
right? And knowing that too, therefore, how do you also build teams that thrive in that environment of we're going to try something new, it is going to fail and I'm going to learn from it, I'm going to keep going. Not everyone's wired that way, right? So how do
Yep.
we get better at identifying these people, assessing them, bringing them on board, and then developing them so
Yep.
that you get better, in a way, almost like quicker at making mistakes and quicker at adjusting? Because I think that is the real differentiating factor, right? It's not to become somehow smarter and avoid the mistakes, but it's just getting better able to discover the mistakes faster and change faster than anyone else.
Yeah, I think leadership is always changing, permutating, right? Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
one time's this, one time another. There's no like a hard fast rule for anyone to say. You're
Mm-hmm.
right, say. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So what's the worst thing a leader can do and you will frown upon?
Well, I think, again, as I said, probably for me would be thinking you have all the answers and expecting your team to just do what you tell them to do. because leadership is not a rank and an entitlement, right? Every day we have to re-earn our relationship badge, right? So just like trust, it is so hard to build. It takes years, and it's so easy to lose it over a single day.
Yeah, true.
So constantly recognizing that, right? I think when you don't, that's probably the single biggest issue, I think.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and in this pandemic time, I think a lot of leaders has been affected. So for yourself, is there a pre and post pandemic leader in you? Has your leadership changed in any way?
It's evolving every day. I think for now, the most important thing that I've learned, especially as part of the Naluri journey, is how do we proactively build mental fitness and resilience? Because we know that the pressures are just going to grow. So it's not about trying to avoid that stress and pressure, but to be able to better handle it. And just like physical strength and fitness doesn't come from suddenly, I want to be physically stronger. It doesn't work, right? Or even you just go to the gym one day and spend 2 hours lifting weights. That doesn't make you stronger. It is a set of consistent daily things you do over weeks and months before you reap the benefits of becoming physically stronger, right? So same thing with mental fitness and resilience. It comes down to what are the things you are proactively doing to strengthen your mental fitness and resilience. And most people think I either have it or I don't, right? I'm not doing anything purposeful to increase my capacity to better handle stress.
Yeah, I think that's very important because mental health and mental fitness, especially this pandemic, a lot of people been affected. How they change, adapt to this change. Right. This change was like throwing everybody out in the woods. I mean, I myself also took up Naluri when I was in my ex-company and be using it. I find it interesting and engaging because there's so many parts to it that you can engage in, from stress, from the career and all that. So everything is related in a sense, from your health, your the way you interact with other people, your communications and all that. It's all in one ecosystem. And I think it all comes down to your own wealth, your wealth, your mental wealth that help you to lead your leadership. Which is a good thing that you are doing this now and come at the right time and helping everybody. Yeah. So a final take from you, what's the leadership motto you live by and why?
Well, I think if I can package it as a story that I like to tell, right? Where, when people ask me, when I do go through difficult and challenging times, how do you keep going, right? Including, for example, 3 years ago, I was involved in a pretty nasty car accident. So how do I go from there to going back to Ironman triathlon racing? And the motivation for me is that I want to be able to show my children, because as parents, your kids don't listen to what you tell them. They learn by watching what you do. Right? And this is actually very true with our team members as well. Team members don't do what their team leaders tell them to do. They learn from watching what the leader does. And so the main message for me that I wanted my children to learn and my team members to learn is we can't control what happens to us, but we can choose how we respond, right? Rather than reacting impulsively and being angry or upset or afraid. And by the way, these emotions, they're our choice. We choose to be angry. We choose to be afraid. Versus saying, okay, well, look, I can't control what happens, but I choose how do I want to respond. I can respond with curiosity. I can respond with intentional action rather than just feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah, true. Well said. Yeah. You can't control other people, but you cannot control how you respond to others and the situation too. And that takes a true leader in you to come up with that.
After many mistakes and losing all my hair.
Okay, thank you very much, Azran. Thanks for sharing with us.
Thank you, Valerie. All the best.